Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into some breaking, high-stakes political drama surrounding the 2030 World Cup final. We're looking at a crazy story where global football collides head-on with backdoor politics, shifting alliances, and a desperate fight for survival at the very top of the sporting world. It's developing rapidly, and honestly, it threatens to completely fracture the leadership of the world's most popular sport. Ultimately, this drama is going to decide exactly where millions of fans will watch the biggest game on Earth.
Okay, let's get right into the massive bombshell report that sets this whole story in motion. This comes straight from Martin Ziegler over at The Times. He's reporting that FIFA President Gianni Infantino has allegedly offered the grandest stage in world football, the 2030 World Cup final, to Morocco. But get this, the catch is what he expects in return, their full political support. It's a stunning revelation, right? It literally turns a celebration of international football into a giant geopolitical bargaining chip.
Which brings us to Section 1, a shocking final offer. Right now, Infantino is apparently scrambling behind the scenes in Rabat, Morocco, holding what are being described as crisis talks. According to reports verified by talkSPORT's Ben Jacobs, the FIFA president's real intent is to take the 2030 World Cup final straight to Casablanca. Engaging with Morocco like this, whether it's formal or informal, is highly contentious, especially when you remember who else is actually involved in hosting this unique centenary edition of the tournament.
And that leads into Section 2, Spain fights back.
Just look at the sheer contrast here between the competing claims for this final. On one side you have Spain. They firmly believe they are entitled to host the showpiece event. I mean, they're the driving force of the bid, they're the current Women's World Cup champions, and they won it at Real Madrid's absolutely iconic Bernabéu Stadium. But then on the flip side, you have Morocco's offer, backed by Infantino. They're proposing the Hassan II Stadium in Casablanca. This would be a brand new, state-of-the-art venue with a staggering 115,000 capacity. To put that into perspective, that's bigger than the Bernabéu or literally any other stadium currently operating in the world.
Section 3, bypassing FIFA protocol.
Now, there's actually a formal, collaborative process for how a final is supposed to be chosen. First off, the previous World Cup has to end. You can't just jump the gun and start commercializing the next one early. Second, the local organizing committees of the co-hosts have to consult collectively to reach a point of unity. And finally, the ultimate decision is taken by the wider leadership team and the FIFA Council. But here's the kicker. Infantino is allegedly skipping this entire protocol, trying to hand out the final to whomever he wishes without following the rules at all.
Because of this unilateral move, co-hosts Portugal and Spain have been left completely blindsided. According to the sources, this was absolutely not a decision made collaboratively when the nations decided to bid together. They're missing the formal direct consultation process they originally agreed upon. So, this isn't just about Spain throwing a fit and demanding the final. It's about the fact that a decision of this magnitude just cannot be made behind closed doors without the co-hosts actually being involved.
Which really brings us to a pivotal question, one that pivots us straight from football into global politics. Why would the FIFA president make a promise he arguably doesn't even have the power to keep? Why intentionally anger the massive Spanish and Portuguese federations by completely bypassing the very leadership structures he oversees?
Let's explore that in Section 4, the hunt for 106.
The entire situation hinges on one exact number, 106. You see, Gianni Infantino is basically fighting for his political life, and he needs exactly 106 votes out of the 211 member associations to survive the next election. He actually started his term before the last World Cup with over 200 votes, but he's been steadily losing support over time. So every backroom deal, every crisis talk, and every promised stadium is ultimately just about tallying up to that magic number. When we map out the math of his political survival, the global divide becomes incredibly clear. On one side, we see Europe's UEFA and North America's CONCACAF potentially aligning against him. That represents a huge chunk, roughly 90 votes of opposition. On the flip side, Infantino is fiercely guarding his base of support in Africa and other allied regions, which brings him about 80 to 90 votes. He desperately needs public support and favors, so engaging with Morocco is essentially a desperate play to solidify that crucial African voting bloc.
And this massive opposition bloc isn't just some abstract threat. They could very well rally behind a rival candidate. Analysts are pointing to figures like Victor Montaglania as someone who could potentially capture those 90 votes from UEFA and CONCACAF to directly challenge Infantino's reign. With the European nations speaking out and his support shrinking, Infantino is facing a legitimate, highly organized threat to his presidency.
This takes us to Section 5, the Asian battleground. Because the margins are so razor-thin, Asia has become the ultimate battleground swing state to determine if the FIFA president has enough of a mandate to fight on. It's totally fractured right now. Qatar has stated they remain loyal to Infantino. But then you have Jordan, who is fiercely opposed. Prince Ali Hussein actually issued a pretty damning statement against him just recently. And remarkably, Saudi Arabia remains completely undeclared. They haven't spoken out yet because they're waiting for their own internal Saudi Football Federation elections involving Yasser al-Misihel. Infantino is reportedly pretty surprised by their silence, but right now Asia's split is keeping his fate entirely up in the air.
As talkSPORT's Ben Jacobs astutely points out, Infantino is currently sitting there tallying these complex votes. If he feels he has 106, he won't care about the vocal opposition. But if he realizes his vote count falls below that magic number, he might just walk away before he's officially pushed out. He's acutely aware of the math, and that extreme vulnerability is exactly what's driving these wild, unilateral stadium promises in Morocco.
So, that leaves us with one final overarching question to think about. Gianni Infantino is literally gambling the biggest match in world football to save his own political career. Will bypassing protocol and alienating European powerhouses secure him the African votes he so desperately needs? Or will this blatant disregard for the rules be the final misstep that pushes his support below 106 and ends his reign entirely? The countdown to 2030 has begun, but make no mistake, the most important match is happening right now, behind closed doors.